I'll pass it over to you. All right. So, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our third day of Iowa CS Ed Week. Today, we are going to have a lovely panel discussion about pathways into cybersecurity careers. Before we get going too far into that, I just want to remind everybody about some of our resources and activities that we have available. And so everything this year is centered around our theme that computer science is everywhere in Iowa, be cyber secure. So focusing on cybersecurity this year. All of our resources can be found at our website, iowacsedweek.org. But before we get going too much further, I want to say thank you, a huge thank you to everybody who has worked behind the scenes to make this week such a great week for educators and families and students across the state of Iowa. There have been countless hours of time and energy spent to bring the activities, curate the resources, and put those all onto the website, as well as all of the wonderful tech support for putting on these webinars like today. So we are halfway through our week. We do still have a couple events going on yet this week. We have Thursday evening. We have a family night going on. So check out our website. We have in-person locations for that, as well as you can join us virtually. We will be going through 3 different activities, hands-on activities geared for elementary students, but anybody, all ages are welcome to attend. And then on Friday, we have Nutcracker Ballet plus STEM, where you get to see STEM and computer science and how they integrate into the arts through the Nutcracker Ballet. And again, this is something you can join virtually or in person if you're close to the Ames, Iowa area. But again, all of the information, all of the registrations and activities are all listed on our website, iowacsedweek.org. So without further ado, we are going to pass things over to our wonderful panelists who are joining us today. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know CS Ed Week comes at a very busy time of the year anyway. And with you guys all being professors, I'm sure you have finals week, looming ahead or currently going on. So we really appreciate you taking your time this morning to join us and answer some questions that students potentially looking at a cybersecurity career might have. So with that, I'm going to get it to where we can see everybody's faces. And I'd like to just start off by just doing a round robin of if you could introduce yourself and give a brief overview of the program that pertains to cybersecurity at your school. And so I'm just going to start off with how I see you on my screen with Philip being first.
Hello, my name is Philip Kleinberg. I am one of the 2 in-person instructors here at Western Iowa Tech for the Cybersecurity and Digital Crime program here in Sioux City. So I've worked in the IT field for almost a decade, cybersecurity specifically for 4 to 5 years. I'm actually a first-year teacher. I just got out of the Air Force, and I worked as a security operations center manager there and a assistant information system security manager currently in the program. So I teach mostly second years right now. So I teach offensive security, digital forensics, and I'll be teaching an incident response class this next semester. Um, but to sum up our program here at WIT, so we start off students their first semester, first year. They start learning some of the basic IT stuff, right? To get, from zero to hero, right? Like we need those prerequisite IT skills before they can start learning, more introductory cybersecurity skills. And then starting their second years where they get way more hands-on with the actual what we would know as cyber, right? Like your offensive security, defensive security, digital forensics, stuff like that. And then we capstone the program second year, second semester with a like a projects class, and they do some extra stuff. So they kind of cement that the hands-on experience. So when they get out to the field, they've kind of seen a little bit of everything, and so hopefully they find success in the future.
Thank you, Philip. Jeremy, I have you next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Hoffman with Des Moines Area Community College. I'm the department chair for the cybersecurity program. Um, we are a CAE CD, which is the Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense, through the NSA for the program accreditation. Um, Students in our program, we have a couple different tracks. The cybersecurity track, we also have computer science with components of cybersecurity. We also have a network administration track that has more the blue team IT focus, but they also have security courses within that. Um, our pathway for new students will be able to give them a shared first semester. So if they decide, hey, I really liked programming in this intro class that we took, I can go into the computer science realm. If I really like the network administration, the servers and things like that, I can move over into network administration. And if we like the cybersecurity focus parts, we'll stick with our track with cybersecurity. So we have a wide range of opportunities for students to grow and advance into whatever program they want. We also have a digital forensics program that just started up this year. It is geared more towards uh, people already in the field to try and get some more experience. However, we encourage everyone to be able to go that pathway as well.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Jeremy, again. Chris, I have you next.
Sure. I am currently the Associate Provost for our Graduate and Professional Studies programs, which is where our cybersecurity is kind of housed right now. We also offer information technology and a more traditional computer science program. Similar to what Jeremy was saying, our introductory courses or starting coding courses can kind of go into either one of those tracks. But our cybersecurity is built so it's really transfer friendly. That it is a kind of a shorter program than what our full computer science degree program is, with some of the other focuses that Philip mentioned as well, as far as the network and penetration and ethical hacking and a lot of those items. So we offer the major and as well as a minor for students that are more interested in maybe going a different route to get in, have some cybersecurity experience as well.
And Chris, could you tell us where you're from again?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm from Grandview University. Sorry, I didn't mention that.
Nope, that's fine. Thank you. And then last but not least, Doug.
Hello, yeah, I'm Doug Jacobson. I'm on the faculty here at Iowa State University. I run our Center for Cybersecurity Innovation and Outreach. I've been in cybersecurity since the 1990s, so I'm the old guy in the room. We also, we're a CAE CD and a CAER. We're actually one of the first 7 CAE centers of excellence in the country. Our again 4-year school. So our pathways, we have a bachelor's of science in cybersecurity engineering, a direct admission type of program, or transfer through one of the 2+2 programs through community colleges. And that leads to a bachelor's in cybersecurity engineering, and one of only a handful of those in the country. We also have a minor in cybersecurity, typically taken by students from MIS, software engineering, computer science type of degrees. And then we also have graduate degree programs that are offered for either on campus or off campus. And there's some pathways through DMAC into those type of programs.
Wonderful. So, thinking along the lines of getting students ready to enter your programs, are there any sort of certifications that you would particularly recommend students maybe pursuing, or even certain coursework that would be advantageous to them before entering into your pathways? And I'll let you think on that, and whoever wants to go first absolutely can.
I can take that. Um, it largely depends upon where you're at in your career, right? If we have folks who are coming in from the industry, um, if they're looking to go to a school, right, and they're looking to pursue a specific program, maybe start looking at the introductory stuff for that. So, like we mentioned, digital forensics. If we have a professional who has experience in, say, blue teaming, typical cyber defense, and they're trying to get into digital forensics, incident response, maybe they should be looking into a certificate like that, or a coursework with that to kind of supplement their success if they were to take the digital forensics program. But for us here at Western Iowa Tech, we get a lot of folks who are just trying to enter the field. And so what I always tell my students is focus on the fundamentals, like IT fundamentals, before you start looking at these really nice, big, really difficult exams like OSCP for offensive security. Um, or even like CISP, like CISSP, it being a more like that's something I'm studying for right now. I have 4 or 5 years experience. And so if I had a student who is saying, oh, I'm looking at, CISP, I'd be like, that's probably inappropriate. You probably don't have the background knowledge to be successful during that exam. And exams are expensive, right? Certification exams are expensive. And so, find out where you're at. And pursue something that's more corresponding to where you're at in your career and what you want to do. And if you don't know what to do and you're new to the career field, I would say always look at the fundamentals. Like CompTIA is A plus, Net plus, and Security plus are always a good one. And then start looking at, if you want to get into blue teaming, look at the blue teaming certs. You're looking into offensive security, look at maybe pen test, or TCM security is always affordable. Or if you're looking at GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, look at something that's closer to that.
That's great advice. Anyone else want to give their recommendation?
Uh, to kind of go along with that, I agree with the assessment that you really need to know where you're at. Um, in my program, we have students that barely know how to turn on or off a computer. And we're constantly reminding them, hey, make sure you log off, or when you get up to walk away, lock your computer. And we drill that in their first semester, so much so that they find they do that at work now way more, which is great. But yeah, it really depends on where you want to end up. We also try to take a realistic approach and explain to them, you do have to learn the fundamentals. You do have to learn all this information. We try to give a good basis of that through various certifications, like the CompTIA ones that were mentioned. We have like our Tech Plus. We have our Net Plus, Server Plus, Security Plus. All of those to kind of get them started in the right path where they have some credentialing. So when they get out into the workforce after the 2 years, they are able to at least say, yes, I have these foundational credentials. Going for straight for like CISSP, someone that's transitioning from a management role into a tech management role, we look at that type of process there, or if they're in their master's program, because it does take a few years experience to understand that. We also tell a lot of the students, don't be so worried about not understanding it right away, and we try to push them through with that knowledge.
That's great. Anyone else want to take that? Chris, I see you came
Yeah.
off mute.
Yeah, I think, we're a fairly new program. And one of the things that when we were talking about people in the industry is not just the certifications, which will come through some of the coursework and some of the experience that you'll get, but also the project management skills, technical writing skills, as well as just basic teamwork and communication are kind of essential areas that need to be focused in on, because a lot of these, times you're working with a team or you're working with multiple individuals to institute some type of security prevention or after the fact intervention. So it's kind of that holistic piece of get the technical skills, find your area of expertise, as well as develop those areas that will help you work in a group and manage some of these projects.
And Doug, I don't want to leave you out. Do you have anything to add?
No, that's been all good advice. It really is where the student is at. And, as Jeremy said, when you get students who, can point the difference between a computer and a rock, but that's sometimes about all the part that they are. And we have students who come in with a lot of experience. We have students who come in from community colleges. So it really, is all of us try to bring those students up to certain, up to the level of being able to be successful. And some of them come with certs, and some of them will pursue that cert path while they're in school or post school. So I wouldn't look at, I don't have a cert, therefore I can't go into security.
That's very reassuring to hear it from all of you, that you really can be at any point in the knowledge of cybersecurity to enter into any of your programs. So looking ahead to when students exit your programs and they're entering the workforce, what are some of the in-demand skills, or perhaps even like programming languages for cybersecurity professionals? And I'm going to preface this with, I know it's an ever-changing world, and those in-demand skills are going to be changing just as fast as you can graduate students out of your programs. But what are some of the in-demand skills now that students leaving your programs are finding in the workplace?
I can jump in right away. So one of the biggest things that we try to stress in their first semester, as well as we incorporate it throughout our program, is the soft skills. Tech companies, they can train you for the tech stuff because all their technology is going to be different. If you have that foundational understanding of how networks or how a programming language works, you can build those skills throughout. But being able to communicate beyond looking at your phone and sending memes and communicate effectively is very important. Being able to have that communication, and also being able to learn how to document processes successfully and explain to someone else what the reasoning is behind something, because people don't tend to follow cyber advice unless they have a really good reason, like, hey, your bank account could get stolen. Well, that's why I have antivirus. Well, but you're going on the web. And if they can explain it successfully and have that soft skill to communicate better, I think that's more of a really good foundation that they need.
That's great information. I know we've every year, it seems like no matter what our focus in computer science careers is, those soft skills keep coming up over and over again. Would anybody else like to take a stab at this question?
I mean, I definitely agree with Jeremy that this whole ability to communicate, it's also an ability, I think, to show that, how you describe this, but really our employers look for those students who have that drive and that passion and real interest in security. Security is a field that the best part about this field is tomorrow it's going to be different than it is today. Probably this afternoon it's going to be different. And so employers are really looking for those employees that have that passion, that desire to constantly learn something new, to be at that forefront of whatever sub-discipline of security they're in. And part of that is this ability to be able to communicate, to be able to ingest data, figure out what's going on. And that's what makes security, in my mind, like the coolest thing we can do, because like I said, it's going to be different tomorrow.
Thanks, Doug. Anybody else?
I can throw my 2 cents in for this.
All right.
So it I always call this the cybersecurity answer of it just depends. Depends upon what they're looking to do, depends upon where they're at, their current skill set. So we talk about in-demand technical skills and or programming languages. It just depends upon what you're trying to do. So as a defender, right? So I come from a SOC background. The mid-level SOC analyst, right, to really get a good job as a SOC analyst, you're looking at like, incident response, and you're looking at digital forensics, and like we would see like a SOC analyst come in and they would understand how to use like a SIEM and a security information event management. They would know how to use like SOAR tools or EDR, but we're really looking at, okay, what's the next step, right? Can they perform traditional digital forensics incident response tools, right? Can they know how to use like autopsy, volatility? Are they really good at the forensic side of things? Because that was the more senior side of our SOC analysts or the incident responders and like threat hunting. Um, so when you're looking at trying to get it as a like a SOC job, right? Look at like I'm not only mastering some of the more entry level SOC positions, right? Because it's still a mid level position when we talk about cybersecurity. Are you starting to get into more of the advanced stuff? Right? Are you looking at fully not only understanding the why, like the soft skills are very important because you're a customer, right? Or you have customers that you're providing a service to. You need to know how to speak their language, right? We're in security, we're protecting a business, right? We're protecting an organization. So you have to sell them on how important you are. So it's professionalism is huge, but also understanding your tools and understanding how to employ them properly. I mean, with pen testing too, like it's true regardless of what field you're in for security. I mean, pen testing, it's all about the report at the end of the day, right? You need the skill set to generate the report, but your report is what the customer gets. And so if your report's lacking the presentation, the technical details, if it's not written to the audience level, if it's too technical, the executives you're presenting for, they're not going to be happy about that. And then we talk about programming languages. Again, it just depends on what you're looking to do. If you're a like an exploit developer and like threat researcher, like malware researcher, are you looking at like what would you call it? Malware like on Android, right? Knowing Java. If you're looking at malware on Apple, like knowing Swift. If you're looking at like Linux malware, maybe C. There, again, it just depends on what you're looking to do. Knowing any programming is fantastic for whatever it is you're trying to get into. And then once you learn a programming language, it's much easier to learn another language. So there's really no bad starting point.
That's great. Thank you. And since you kind of touched on this with the it depends answer, you mentioned, and our audience can definitely tell that cybersecurity is a very vast, expansive field, and lots of different things going on and ways and pathways that students can take in their professional careers. But what are suggestions you all have for helping students figure out like which area of cybersecurity they want to start venturing down?
I can try and jump on that. So one of our first assignments in our first Tech Plus slash security course is we ask them what is cyber and define it for us. And most people can't say what cyber is. And the answer is it's an umbrella term. It's everything IT and so much more because it's marketing and things like that. So one of the first things that we try is with that IT and security fundamentals course that we offer is we have all the different areas within our cyber program that they could go into, whether it be computer science, whether it be networking, whether it be cyber. But there's also parts in there for marketing and business where they could say, hey, I really like sales, but I want to do more of the IT tech sales type stuff. Um, Having guest lectures like some of the Dell engineers, some of the IBM engineers that I've worked with in the past, and even some of my friends that are in marketing and sales, they come in and give a little talk about the different avenues uh, for their career goals, and they kind of find a little flavor of each. And I think that's the best way to kind of introduce students to the field of cyber, is find out what their interests are, and then we try to work with the students throughout the first semester to make sure that they're in the right path. Um, whether they have an interest in um, programming, or if it might be a more artistic outlet where they want to do UI design, we can push them into that kind of area, and it gives them a way to balance out what their needs slash desires are for what they're best suited uh, in their passion. And that's one thing Doug had mentioned earlier, was there is a certain type of passion you really have to have. A lot of people think, well, I play video games, so I'd be good at cyber. Um, but they're not really passionate about it, and they don't like the constant learning and changes. Um, so it's one of those areas that we, as faculty, have to watch out for students, and we try to guide them as best we can.
That's great advice. And that was something yesterday we had, our webinar was with cybersecurity professionals, and that's what they kept reiterating, was that continual learning process, and that kind of stick with it attitude and mentality that's needed in cybersecurity. Would anybody else like to answer the question? Or did Jeremy really sum it up? Oh, Chris, you want to take a?
No, I think Jeremy did a great job summing it up. And you know, I think this is kind of covers all students, as well as you don't necessarily know till you try, you know. So, and that's why there's, you know, in every cybersecurity program, there's multiple classes that cover the different areas so that you can find that area of direction. But I think, you know, like Jeremy said, is a lot of students think they're interested in it, and then they get into the first class and like, this isn't exactly what I want. But it's definitely that idea of, you can't be complacent, you know, in this field. Is you have to have the drive to learn, and you have to have a, you know, a certain want to really provide that continual learning and the protection for wherever you're working.
No, that's great. Thank you, Chris. So moving forward, are there ways that you are aware of, or suggestions you have for students on how maybe they can get some hands-on experience in high school to at least dabble in the cybersecurity realm, and see if maybe it's something that would be of interest to them?
I can start. So one of the ways that we have stood up is something called Innovate IT, which is a free high school program offered across the state. And the cyber pathway in that program is coming to working yourself to be able to compete in our cyber defense challenge that's in April at Ames. We also have these cyber defense challenges for community colleges and others, as Jeremy was in Ames on Saturday for one. And so that is one way that we have of getting students interested. It's a year long. It's a curriculum we have that is school year long, and works them towards being able to play in these challenges.
Any
I'll kind
others?
I'll kind of second Doug's part. We have our students participate in the National Cyber League. I regularly buy some of our high school participants. I'll buy some NCL tokens so that they can play. Getting them kind of gamified, like Pico CTF for high schools. It's free. It's through Carnegie Mellon. They can access it 24/7. There are so many different ranges now that are being stood up. The National, or the Center of Academic Excellence group, the CAE community, they have a cyber war games that they also offer. Cyber Patriot through I think it's is it DoD or Cisco? I can't remember which one Cyber Patriots through. But Cisco also has one, if I remember right. But they're getting them involved in a lot of the games and a lot of the more fun aspects, even if they don't know a lot. It's kind of fun to solve problems and have just different challenges. Is a really great way, especially working with high schools, to get them involved with cyber and just IT in general.
No, that's great, Jeremy. I think Cyber Patriot has been mentioned now 3 times during 3 different events this week. So definitely a program to take a look at. Any others want to get a chance to answer this before we move on to the next question?
I
I'll
did
just
forget.
tag my. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say summer camps are another great one. We offered an AI one, and this year we're going to be offering a AI plus 3D printing summer camp. So getting students involved like that is fantastic as well. Sorry.
It's all good. Actually, I got started with my security journey through Cyber Patriot. So that's the first time I went hands-on to actually securing systems. Did that for 2 years as part of a JROTC. And then I guess I started my IT journey through internships with the school district. So my high school actually had a program where you interned for 3 years doing different levels of IT. So I would look at if your school offers an IT program like internships. If they have coding classes, it's always a great way to start. I haven't seen anything specifically for security. I think the senior year had security focused, but I'd already graduated before that. But yeah, the school is just anything that, or it's technology oriented. It's not a bad choice. Pico CTF, fantastic. I use that in the classroom actually. Or home labs, if you guys have a computer that can run home labs, I mean, spin something up. I mean, anything is better than nothing.
Thanks, Philip. So our next question, students, as they are looking at the admissions process and applying for these different programs, are there any pitfalls or common mistakes that students should avoid when they start planning and thinking of what their pathway is going to look like to their future career?
I can jump in again.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of what we see is they they don't really have a realistic understanding of the roles, and they look at the money that could be made because you see all these advertisements make $150,000 a year as a cyber professional. All you need is a 16-week boot camp, um, and having a realistic expectation and understanding of what that role is a lot of what helps shape what path they want to go into, but also maybe engaging and trying to make sure that they take some of those exploratory classes in different areas to make sure that they have what they really enjoy. Uh, Maybe their second semester, they might take more computer science classes versus some of the more network-based classes or things like that, and making sure that they have opportunities for options and pathways for upward mobility for transfer so they can continue their education and move. Programs like mine with the AAS, um, unless they are in a specific AS program for transfer, they don't get to do the full program before they transfer. So having something where they understand that if they want to move forward or up, that they have the options and what lay out the options that they have for that upward mobility.
That's great information. Any other common mistakes or pitfalls anyone else can think of that they've seen with incoming students, perhaps?
I would say it comes down to just if you get stuck learning something you don't enjoy, or they think there's a traditional pathway into security, regardless of the role. I've heard it a lot where it said, "Oh, I want to be a cybersecurity professional. Okay, cool. I have to go through a computer science program," and then they start going through computer science, and they realize that they really don't enjoy it. And it's like, well, that's not the only way to get into cybersecurity. There's, I came from an IT background, so you could learn IT, or people from marketing, or there's a dozen different ways to get into the field. So it's okay to switch to learning something if you don't enjoy what you're currently learning, or maybe take a break and switch it. I mean, that's why I really enjoy teaching, is I get to, float between different things. I can go for the IT side and set up some, some boxes, or I can go work on digital forensics. I can do this, I can do that. So just if you're stuck doing something you don't enjoy, switch to something you're going to enjoy a little bit more. You'll have a much better time, and you'll more likely make it than not.
So along with that, it makes me wonder, are there resources for students where they can see potentially the different ways of coming into a cybersecurity career? Like you were mentioning, Philip, you could come in from the computer science side, you can come in from the IT side. Are there resources that you know of that are available where students can see that laid out, or even counselors? This might not be their forte on advising a student who's interested in a cybersecurity career on how to plan their journey.
The only tool I know offhand was one that the DoD put together, trying to showcase some of the vets that were leaving the military, and to see if you had any background and you're trying to get into cyber. I'd have to find that link and send it out to folks. But I think it just comes down to talking to somebody who already works in the industry, right? They can kind of see where your skill set lies, because like everybody's talked about before, soft skills are probably the most important thing to find success in cybersecurity, because we have our roles are so public facing. And oftentimes cybersecurity is seen as a cost center, not as a like a revenue generator, right? Like sales is always looked at as revenue generation in a business. And so that's why soft skills are so harped on for cyber. And so really having soft skills is foundational. And then finding your trade, finding what technical things you enjoy. And if you don't know what you enjoy, dabble in a little bit of everything. But I would say most cyber folks would generally give advice to anybody who's asking to try and enter the industry, and see where you're at, try to, marry someone's prior skill set with the new skill set they need to land a role.
So in the chat, there was Doug had posted cyberseek.org. That seems like a good resource to at least look at, like what kind of jobs in what areas. I also think that like we're very fortunate for my program in DMAC, we have a specific advisor and pathway navigator that they get assigned. If they're interested in IT, they get assigned to a couple different ones. If they're interested in cyber, they have their very own dedicated advisor. And so our advisors stay on top of our students to make sure that they're continuing to be successful. Us faculty are able to interact with them quite a bit. And we do showcase quite a few different areas of different value for different coursework or different things. And again, I harp on this a lot, but it's finding the right program for the right student, making sure that they're in the right pathway for them, and not just here's my molded pathway and this is the only way you can get into cyber. Helping them grow that pathway is one of the benefits that we have.
I really like that focus, finding the right program for the student. Because yes, you don't want to be going down a path that you don't enjoy and love and have that passion for, especially in something like cybersecurity, where that learning's not going away. You don't get the degree and then you're done with, your coursework.
I do have one more quick thing.
Yeah.
Don't let the parents pressure you into a field just because they think you can make money in it. I have several students that the program right now isn't a fit for them and we're working with it, but their parents are adamant that no, you have to do this because this is the best way to earn money. But yeah, finding that reach around to where we can help get them to where they need to be in that path for what's best for them is really how we all have to try and be that keeper for that.
I love that. Thank you for adding that, Jeremy. So going into our last question here, I'm going to pose to all of you, and we will just round robin this question. But I want you to think of one bit of advice that you would like to give students contemplating a career in cybersecurity. If you could leave them with one final parting words or phrase as we leave today, what would that be? I'll let you think for a second, and whoever wants to go first absolutely can.
I can start. And we've all touched on this, but I think it is this: be curious and play. That's if you do those things and it's fun, then this career is for you.
My advice would be don't be afraid of failure. Failure is what builds knowledge. And when you build that knowledge, nothing can stop you. But if you fail a couple times, just get yourself back up and have that passion to drive forward.
I'll be short and sweet. Working in cybersecurity is not easy. Don't expect it to be easy, but don't be discouraged when you encounter difficulty, because if you're not encountering difficulty, you're not growing. And so if your goal is to grow and, land a role or land a job in the industry, do the hard things. You'll find a lot of success that way.
I think all of my comments were stolen. So, I mean, I was going to say is, don't be complacent and keep learning. I mean, those are the big things, but I think everybody hit on that. So.
Very sound advice from all of you, and hopefully the students who are watching live or watch this recording later, hopefully they take that to heart and mind as they are planning their careers and their pathways. And I think the advice you gave really is applicable to really any any career, especially in computer science and cybersecurity, but any career in general. So thank you, panelists, again, for joining us and going through those questions. I really appreciate it. Before we leave here, I just want to remind everybody joining us again that this recording of this panel, as well as our ones that we've had not only earlier this week, but in years past, can all be found at our website, iowacsedweek.org. Make sure to take a look at the events that are happening yet this week. Get registered for any or all of those, as well as look at our plethora of computer science lessons, activities, educator resources. There's a lot of information on our website, so definitely take a look at that. And with that, I think we are ready to say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to the rest of our events yet this week for CS Ed Week.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.